Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Huck. Today I am doing my December wrap-up. In December I read 9 books. 4 of those books were audiobooks and 5 of them were physical books. The first book that I read in December was an audiobook, which was P.S. I Still Love You, which is the sequel to All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han, which the Netflix movie was based on, and now they're making a movie for the second book, which I'm very excited for. This one, again, it's a YA contemporary romance. It's very cute and it's just adorable. In this, I didn't love the direction that the romance went. I kind of wanted it to go a little bit of a different way, but it was still really fun to read. When I'm reading books like this, really all I'm looking for is just like wholesome adorableness, and that's what I got out of it, and it's just super cute, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read is Flourish by Martin Seligman. This is a non-fiction book that I was reading for a class, so I actually read this over the course of like 3 months, but I finished it in December. And Martin Seligman is a psychologist who does a lot of research about positive psychology and well-being and happiness. Positive psychology is an area of psychology that focuses on the more positive aspects of our lives. It focuses a lot on well-being and the ways that people can increase well-being in their own lives, how we can increase our feelings of satisfaction and happiness and resilience and things like that. Seligman's research and theories are really interesting, and he has a lot of good research to back up his theories, and he talks in this about resilience and how that can help people to prevent things like PTSD, and different strategies and activities and things that you can do to enhance your own overall well-being and enhance your life in that way. I didn't love the way that the book was written. There were a lot of stories that weren't really necessary and just kind of took up space and took a long time to get through. So I think that his theories and his research and the information itself is really great, but I didn't really like the way this book was written, and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Then I buddy read Blue Lily Lily Blue by Maggie Stiefvater with Kara from Wild Book Garden, which has been a lot of fun. This is the 3rd book in the Raven Cycle. The Raven Cycle is one of my favorite series. I love these characters so dearly. They are all so just endearing and close to my heart, and what I loved about this book specifically is that we get to really start to see the character growth that has taken place. We're starting to really see how those characters have changed and actually grown from the experiences that they had in the first 2 books, and I really love seeing that and seeing how they have actually changed as people over time and how they are just they're growing, and it just makes me so happy, and I'm just like, I'm so proud of them even though they're imaginary people, and I had a really fun time reading this book. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars just because there were so many times that it's just like so heartwarming how much they love each other and how much they're just like growing as people. Then I read 9 from the Nine Worlds by Rick Riordan. This is a companion to his Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard trilogy, and originally I thought this was just kind of a collection of short stories, and it is, but it's kind of like a novella because all of the stories are sort of linked together. So it felt less like just a collection of short stories and more like a novella where each chapter was told from the perspective of a different character because they were kind of linked together. This one, it didn't really serve any purpose other than just being like, oh, cute, like we get to see these characters again and I enjoy these characters. So like it was fun. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars because it wasn't like outstanding, but I enjoy Rick Riordan's books. Then I listened to the audiobook of Penrick's Mission by Lois McMaster Bujold. This is the 3rd book in the Pendrick and Desdemona series of novellas, and this is one that like I'm listening to the whole series. I've been enjoying it. One of the things that I liked about this 3rd book is that we get to continually see how Penrick's relationship with the demon Desdemona has grown over time, because there are large time gaps between each of the books. So their relationship deepens over time, even though we may not see that. It didn't feel like it was jumping too much, but I enjoyed seeing how their relationship has grown over them just like you know, existing together for so long. His powers have grown, and his understanding of how his powers and his magic work has changed over time. And in this one, there is the introduction of a love interest, which was also a lot of fun to read about. So this one I gave 3.5 out of 5 stars. Then I listened to the audiobook of The Burning Maze by Rick Riordan. This is the 3rd book in the Trials of Apollo series, which follows the god Apollo, who has been banished to Earth to live as a mortal. This series is not my favorite of Rick Riordan's books, but I continue listening to the audiobooks because I want to know what happens, just because I want to have all of the information about this world as he continues to build it and add books and characters, because they do all overlap. This one probably actually may have been my favorite of the series. Since it's not a series that I especially like, I don't know if that's saying much, but I do like that Apollo's character is growing and changing, and he is starting to really understand the value of humanity, and he's really starting to understand like the human experience more. He's starting to make more real connections with other people, and that is making me like him more as a character. I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. Then I probably spent the most time this month reading Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb. This is the 3rd and final book in the Live Ship Traders trilogy, and this one, these books take forever to read because they're huge. This is like 900 pages or so, and this one I have a lot of thoughts about, but I'm probably gonna have to do a whole review about it. I don't know how I feel about the way that this ended. That's not true. I didn't like the way that this book ended. I did not like the way that this like completed the trilogy. The ending just like didn't sit right with me. In this series, I was not a big fan of the 1st book. I really liked the 2nd book, and then this 3rd one I felt like kind of backslid and was like not as interesting. So the 2nd one I think is definitely my favorite in the trilogy, but this one, it felt like it took half the book for it to really get going, and it wasn't even that exciting until the last like 200 pages, and then I didn't like the conclusion. So I'm like, I have more things to say about this, and I'm gonna do a review because I've done a review for every book in this trilogy so far. But yeah, not a fan of the ending. Gave this 3 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was the audiobook of Daring Greatly by Brene Brown, How the Courage to be Vulnerable Transforms the Way We Live, Love, Parent, and Lead. So this is a nonfiction book that is about vulnerability, and she also talks a lot about shame and how that affects us and our willingness to be vulnerable, and how important it is to be vulnerable in appropriate contexts. This is the 3rd Brene Brown book that I have listened to in the last like 2 or 3 months. So I kind of have just been binging whatever Overdrive has on in their library, and I have really been enjoying listening to her books. They are ones that they're not like mind-blowing or anything, but I think that they are really interesting and they are thought-provoking, and I actually want to like reread and re-listen to all of the books that I've already listened to, because I feel like they're the kind that I'll absorb more of it over time as I listen to them. Also, like, I know that as a person, I'm not very good at vulnerability, and I think that that's something that I want to improve about myself. I want to do better. I think that that would improve my life if I was more comfortable being vulnerable, at least in, you know, appropriate contexts. So I want to re-listen to her books as a way of reminding myself of this goal and reminding myself of what I want to accomplish and how I want to grow in this way. So I really liked listening to this book, and I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. And the last book that I read in 2018 was Finding Baba Yaga by Jane Yolen. This is a novella that is all told in verse, and it is a modern retelling of Baba Yaga, but it's not like, sometimes you can't even tell it's modern, partially because of the way that it's told in verse. It was a very interesting experience to read. I've never read a book or a novel that was told in verse. It felt very stream of consciousness. You didn't get a lot of detail, and it was more about like the feeling of the story. There was also this really interesting like feeling of movement to it throughout the book, and it kind of felt like the equivalent of when you watch movies and they have those scenes that are like through the eyes of the character, so you're kind of seeing what that character is seeing through their eyes. It felt like the book equivalent of that. So by the end, I don't know if I could really tell you exactly what this book is about or what happens in it, but I know that like there was a feeling of it as I was reading, and I think that had a lot to do with the way that it was told, that there wasn't a lot of detail to hold on to, but I did enjoy it. I really like couldn't tell what I thought of this book, so I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. So that is all for the books that I read in December. As I was talking, I realized that there weren't a lot of books that I had really strong like thoughts or opinions or commentary on this month, other than Ship of Destiny, because I have a lot of thoughts about that, but I'm gonna have to make a whole other video for that. But other than that, the rest of the month was just kind of like, everything was like, it's fine, you know, it's okay. But also, I just wanted to mention before I go that in December, my channel reached 1,000 subscribers, which is so exciting, and I'm going to be making a more official thank you video later on, but I just wanted to say now that I just wanted to say thank you, and that it means so much to me, and I'm just so happy to be here with all of you, and just thanks for being here with me and watching and subscribing and all of that. So thank you all for watching, and until next time, bye.